Hi, everyone. This is Tim Nye, Chief Executive Officer, Catholic Charities, San Bernardino, Riverside. Here today, we're with a really special guest. I'm excited, maybe one of our best guests ever. This is Mayor Tran of San Bernardino. Hi, Mayor.
Hi.
So fun. We're just talking about coffee because the mayor and I both love coffee. And today we're serving Catholic Charities San Bernardino coffee. And because we're frugal, it's sort of Marine Corps style. If you know about me, I'm a Marine. And in the Marine Corps, we'll take whatever coffee we can have, especially for cold and it's raining in the field. And you might be with us on that too.
Oh, probably.
Yeah, I think so. So Mayor Tran has a great story. I was, reading a little bit about your background. So could you just tell us, where were you born?
I was born in San Diego.
San Diego.
hmm
But your family's from Vietnam.
Yes. So I was born a year after my parents came to the U.S. as refugee immigrants from Vietnam, escaping war-torn country. Yes.
And so we have a little bit in common because I'm actually from San Diego as well. And many people ask, Tim, wait a second, you moved from San Diego to come to San Bernardino? And I said, yes, I did. And I'm now an Inland Empire. You can tell by my haircut, it's a little shorter on the sides. So I'm excited to be here and serve the community. And we're certainly, I think that Catholic Charities has a lot in common with some of your thoughts and initiatives as well. But before we go there, you're in San Diego. What was that like growing up?
Growing up, I mean, I don't have much memory. I was there till 6 years old, but I do remember that we were really living in areas that were not, I would say, safe or it's struggling. It's a struggling area. I think it was at that time El Cajon is my recollection, but I remember living in alleyways, and my father would have to chase folks, burglars away from our
Wow.
home. So we were struggling.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, so I think that's really interesting. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. And some people don't know that San Diego has a high poverty rate, actually.
Mm.
It's an expensive city. So today they're struggling, but you are a San Diegan officially because there's very few of us. So San Diego native right here. But then later on, you moved to the Inland Empire
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Cajon Valley, right? No,
Cajon High School
Cajon High School.
graduate. Yes.
Yeah. So tell me more about when you moved and the transition.
So we moved because of a family friend of ours. His name is Henry Graham. He's no longer with us, but he truly is, I would say, our savior, because he saw a family with small children and got to know my father, became good friends, and we see him as our uncle. And he said, "You need to get your family out of this area. That is not safe. That your family's not going to thrive off of this. I would suggest moving to San Bernardino. Let me take you there." And so when he brought us out here, my parents didn't know, but got us to be able to start our life here, and since then grew up in San Bernardino.
I love that your parents were willing to take a risk. They took a risk to come to America, to San Diego, and they continue to make pivots and change. That's really inspirational, actually.
It is absolute inspiration, because without that inspiration, I would not be able to do what I do today.
For sure. And so you're in high school, and what was your journey like? What inspired you to then go on to college?
Oh, well, my parents really emphasize education is extremely important, because the more you know, the more you're able to make good informed decisions, and knowledge is power, which I will say. And so emphasizing that, and then being able to be the first to go to college was a huge, something that my parents are so proud, and I'm proud to be able to say that too. And growing up in San Bernardino, I did not speak English initially, so when we went to an elementary school, they had Vietnamese translators, educators that could help us transition.
Did you experience some cultural challenges and adjustments there?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because my parents didn't have anything. They came here, took a risk to come here, but they just knew that it was better than where they came from. And so really instilling, education, family, and just make sure that we have a roof over our heads and food at the table was all we cared about. So humble beginnings. So I understand what it means to struggle, and really relied on assistance to get day by day.
And just Vietnam in general I haven't been there. I've been to 28 countries, but it is a beautiful country based on what I've seen. And I can't wait to go there and visit. I think that there's so much rich culture there.
Yes.
And even the literally like here in San Bernardino Inland Empire to go and see the rich culture of the Vietnamese people that they brought here too.
Oh, absolutely. And San Bernardino truly is an international city. I mean,
Yes.
there's so many people from different backgrounds and folks who also are immigrants to this country. I mean, I see it as such an international city that's in the cusp of greatness.
Yeah. So UC Santa Cruz.
Yes.
Is that where the coffee got started? I mean, it's
You
challenging,
know
right?
where?
You gotta
Let
drink
me tell you.
coffee.
So how I got entered into coffee or exposed to coffee was in high school. When I was volunteering on political campaigns, and that's what I got introduced to coffee because you would have to wake up early in the morning to get out there and get out the votes, and so I remember my first taste of coffee on that volunteering.
And so that's interesting. So in high school, you got inspired about community action and politics.
Yeah.
So what happened there?
Not necessarily politics, civic engagement. Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
gotcha.
And so I was very entrenched throughout my high school years, community service, helping the community. And then we had some folks who came out to us and said, "Hey, would you like to all be civically engaged and help a good candidate win for office in our community?" And we said, "Sure, why not?" That's when my exposure to politics began. I met mentors, and they were folks who were the political consultants for that campaign, and so that's what began my journey and exposure to politics, but not
Wonderful.
necessarily inspired to run for office.
And so then I believe at UC Santa Cruz, that must have been, I can't imagine the moment for your parents when their daughter gets accepted there. It's fantastic.
Oh my gosh, I have to tell you when they took me to the campus and they were driving away because they helped me move into my dorm.
Wow.
I literally ran after them and stood at the corner of the campus and watched the car just go disappear, and I'm just bawling, crying. My parents are crying. We're like, ah.
Yeah. Because I think even in the Vietnamese culture in general, the kids are generally kept closer.
Yes, we are generally very, very close. And actually, even when we went to college, every weekend I would drive home. Just
So I was mentioning earlier to the mayor that I too have some experience with the Vietnamese culture in that I helped raise some Vietnamese children, my stepchildren, Jacob and Jordan. And I remember Jordan brought home a math test and the score was 100%. And Grandpa looked at it and goes, "Not too bad." And I'm like, "Not too bad. It's 100%. You can't get more than that. There's no bonus questions, nothing on there." So education is really important, as you indicated before. Yeah, you see Santa Cruz and American Studies, I believe.
yes, American Studies and minor in education. So I was inspired to become a teacher.
Got you. Okay. That's amazing. So you wanted to give back in the form of education
Yes.
to the community. And then you moved into human resources, I believe.
Human resources by accident.
Okay. Well, that's a lot.
Yeah,
That's
so
true
there's
for a lot of
I
people.
have to tell you, my life journey has been a purpose, and I think that's what got me today, right? So human resource came after when I got exposed to politics and worked on so many campaigns, and then that gave me the clear understanding. And then education was still something that I was inspired to do, but didn't happen. But when I went back home to look for a job, I fell into City Hall, San Bernardino, and they got assignment, temporary assignment in HR as a senior secretary. So again, it was by accident almost, but it was a job that I was willing to take.
And it was, and eventually that was human resources and risk management. Before we go there, though, you said an interesting word. You talked about purpose. And what I've learned in my own personal life is we all seek happiness, right? And one thing that's really important because happiness is fleeting on those tough days, especially for a lot of the folks that we serve. And so it's so important to be grounded in purpose.
Absolutely. If you forget the purpose, you forget the end goal of what you're trying to do, right? And I always remind myself, why am I doing this? Why am I here? And what keeps me going? And I think that's what we always have to tell ourselves is what's the purpose? Because God has a purpose for all of us.
That's right. And so yes, exactly. So the human resources and risk management was sort of accidental and then maybe not so much because that really prepared you for your next adventure or your next role.
Absolutely. Again, God always paints a path for you, and you just never know what that looks like, right? So, so I will fall into HR risk management. That tremendously helped me to be in this role as mayor because I had the opportunity to work in the city of San Bernardino for 14 years. saw through the tides of challenges, obstacles, bankruptcy, all of those things, and in this capacity, working with people, solving problems, trying to make sure we make the most informed decisions. And I truly am thankful that I had that exposure.
You have a busy schedule, and you took the time to meet us prior to come look at our sort of our breakdown of the organization as we restructured. And you saw what we're doing is our initiatives with hunger relief, our focus on housing in the near future, healthcare access and enrollment, and counseling support services. And it's just so great that you took the time to come see what we're doing. And I immediately, when I met you, not just because you like coffee, I was like, wow, this is the right person for this position at this time to help shepherd our flock or shepherd the flock of our community. Because it's not, as I will say, it's not about politics or this or that. It's really having the right shepherd in place. So I think that that really did prepare you for this role as mayor. So what was that like? I mean,
Oh,
becoming a mayor of San Bernardino, and how did the family take that? There was some jokes or some tears, something around
no,
that.
there's a lot of things. It's a mix of everything. And, to this day, I can't believe I'm mayor, but I just know the work, like you just said, how to shepherd the flock into where this city, this community needs to get to. And it doesn't stop with me. And I know that. That's why the timing of everything is a time where you are myself, in this case, to step into a role that is going to help go into the future and beyond, but also help inspire and make sure those be after me is set up for success. And so, being in this role has been just I can't even describe it because it's just so it's huge.
I think you are in the Marine Corps actually. So, because in the Marine Corps we have a small budget, Department of the Navy, and but we have a big job to do, which is much like the nonprofit sector.
Mm.
We have to guard every donor dollar, and you have to guard every taxpayer dollar, and you have a huge job to do. If you told me, "Hey Tim, you're going to be mayor of a really well performing city that has a lot of funds," that's one thing. But if you said you're going to be in a role where not only is there lack of some funds per se. There's a lot of heavy lifting to do, not just for now, but in the future. And also there's some reputation damage in the past. We won't go into those details. But again, that's a very challenging situation.
It is, and mind you, I tell folks, look, I came into an office that was completely, I I'll say it, destroyed.
Mm,
And so coming into an office that the trust was lost, staff taken, salaries cut. I still have one staffer only. And so the capacity of this size city, of this complex challenges that the city is facing and still facing, it's just mind blowing, right? To some folks, like, I don't know how you're doing. I don't either. But you know what? I count my blessings. I know there's a battle before our blessings. And so I look at it, okay, what can I do today to make sure tomorrow's even better? So it's really taking day by day, but taking all of those massive amount of issues and just, okay, bite size.
yep. Well, I think one is adaptive leadership, which you sort of alluded to, and then lots of foresight. So your vision into, and just the knowing that you're not the forever person. Like there's going to be many people after you. So
Absolutely.
you're laying down the groundwork. And when I drive through San Bernardino, I see so much opportunity. It's unbelievable,
Hmm.
the potential of the area.
Absolutely. This city has the bones, the structure, the assets. I mean, just look at the location. And so I always tell folks, look, there's something great, and we're almost there. We're getting there. We're slowly getting there, but there's some greatness that's going to propel this whole region. And so we must stay focused.
That's one of our changes at Catholic Charities is we're now we don't wanna be an organization that's the handout
Hmm.
and build long food lines with people dependent on us to provide food. We see that as an entry point, but we also believe in a hand up. So workforce development, career advisory services, the healthcare access and enrollment, anything that takes a family or an individual and elevates them, especially, and that's why we need to work with the elected officials and our other community partners and all those folks, business entities that will come together and wrap their arms around the community. Bishop Rojas is fully supportive of our initiatives. and really excited. And he also understands the importance of working with everyone, including yourself.
Yes. That is key is the partnership, collaboration, and the work that we're trying to achieve, right? And there has to be willingness to
Right.
do it.
A willingness, and not just collaboration, the buzzword, but actual action that's being taken to get those things done.
Bingo.
Yeah, exactly. So, what are some of the things, if you want, is there anything that keeps you up at night or anything that you're excited about? Or what's the call to action for our community today?
So what keeps me I'm gonna answer all three. What keeps me up at night is the potential disaster situation that the city or this area can face, right? So we always talk about we are on a fault line. So that's what keeps me thinking, okay, are we prepared? Because thinking of all these disasters. What you mentioned, what was the second part?
Oh, anything that keeps you up at night, what are you excited about?
I'm excited. I'm excited about what San Bernardino could be once everything's in place. When I say that, you have to have key folks in place, key components in place, key partners in place in order to really truly propel. So I'm excited about that.
We want to be one of those partners.
Yes, you are. And the third thing you mentioned.
Just anything initiatives that you wanna, or
Oh,
what can the community do, our call to action?
so
How can we support,
thank you.
you know?
I think just really staying in touch with what's going on in our city and being well informed. And if you're not, please reach out to us because we want you to be informed. There's so much that we can do together. I can tell you there's a recent initiative we did, Love Your Block,
Okay.
where we had grants given to community-driven grants so they can really, truly transform their neighborhoods. And that's been so successful.
I have to say, that I'm just gonna go back to this again. If you, in my mind's eye, and I don't know for sure, I'm just saying this. If I'm running a very successful city that has a lot of things already working, then good things seem good,
Mhm.
and bad things are small.
Right.
But when you're in a challenging thing, despite the amount of great work that you're doing, there may be a lot of pushback from the community saying, "But what about this and what about that?" And that's where I feel we all need to come together and sort of work collectively to make positive change, for sure.
You are 1,000% correct on that.
Wonderful. Well, it's probably the first thing I'm right about. I'm only do one right thing per month. So and I did make the coffee this morning, that's for sure. So that's wonderful. And my last question for you would be, what is your message to anyone watching today? Single mom or someone who's feeling challenged. What is your message to a youth? You've been through a lot. You've traveled through a challenging life to become a mayor. What is your message or words that you would tell them to stand up, be strong, and
Mhm.
you can move through this?
And my message to everyone is that when you're in the face of struggles or obstacles and challenges before you, just know that it only builds you and you're meant to see it. Don't ever question the why. Just get through it. Just really get past it and then and reflect on it and say, wow, I got through it. All of those things are there for a reason and you're facing it to something great. And so I have to say, everything that we face, there's a purpose to that. And so, what we have to keep in mind is that we can do more to achieve the greatness.
I love that. And so thank you so much for taking the time to, listen to us and what we're trying to work on here, and also bringing light to your journey, and also sending a message to our community and to those folks out there that are looking for ways in which they can strive. And again, everyone, Mayor Tran, San Bernardino, I'm so grateful to have you here. And thank you everyone for watching. Please like, share, and smash that subscribe button. Get us out there, get this message out there, and thank you again.
Thank you.